We'll start in a minute once we get live on YouTube. All right. So, where is the private? Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste. Astu.
Okay. Can you hear me? Thank you.
I'll start recording on this system. Computer. Okay. And others will join in. Let's start. Om Yontah Pravisya Mama Vachamimaam Prasuptam Sanjeevayatyakhila Shaktidharaswadhamna Anyam Shahastacharnashravanatvagadin Pranan Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Vagartha Vivasampraktau Vagartha Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanurmardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Bhavate Vyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sada Shivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmatacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sarvebhyah Swagatam. This Saptahe we had a small introductory session and we just introduced ourselves. What we will do today is sort of, from what I understood from the last class, this is based on my understanding from the last class, is that we have a pretty diverse group. So instead of starting off upfront on doing Anvaya, given that not everybody may be very fully conversant with doing an Anvaya upfront, I thought I will do the fundamentals and a little bit of basic building blocks of Sanskritam in today's class. And then next class onwards, we'll start with what is Bhaja Govindam. We have said it is going to be a detailed study, so we'll get into the detailed study from the next class on. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So first, I mean, it will be a little bit of repetition, revision. It will be a good revision for those of you who have attended my last year's course. But that's okay. Please go through it. It's a good session. So first, what I would like to understand from you is how many of you understand what is an akshara? See, the moment we start a language, we need to know the basic building blocks of that language. So in Sanskritam, what is it that you understand by the term akshara? So anybody who wants to talk about it, please raise your hands. We have a few more people this time, so please raise your hands. What is akshara? What is an akshara and what is a shabda? These are two things that come to mind the moment we talk of any Indian language. Yes, Vibha Mahodaya, please. Vadatu.
Akshara is swara and vyanjana. That I understand. Akshara.
Okay.
Varna.
Varna. Okay, what is a varna then?
Both swara and vyanjanam.
Swara and Vyanjana is Varna and Varna is Swara and Vyanjana. So that's a little bit of a this one. Okay. Good. That's a good starting point. Yes, it consists of what are called Swaras and Vyanjana. That is a good starting point. Let me just show you something that will come to your mind with it. Okay. So, okay, let me share my screen now. Where is it? Yes. So, Akshara. If you look at the definition of Akshara, as per the Sanskritam definitions, we understand that yaha na ksharati, that the one which is never, which never goes out, that which never extinguishes itself, a means to expression, vyaktaya sadhanam,
Imperishable.
expression, one something to express with. So one which is never going out, one which is permanent. Ksharati is something that will die out. Akshara is something that will not die out. That is the definition of an akshara. Okay. So that is our fundamental definition of an akshara to begin with. Okay. If you look at Amara Kosha, so what you get for the definition of akshara is mukti, kaivalya, nirvana, shreyas, nishreyas, amrita, moksha, apavarga. All these are the definitions that we get for akshara. Nowhere will we get it as swara, vyanjana, varna, etc., etc., etc. So what is it? Why is it that we are using this? So you can revise if you have some time this week. So you go back. I have given the link, video link. You can revise my last year's class, what it is. I've done it in a little more detail there. So if I were to define akshara, that is essentially a natural set of sounds that are never going to extinguish themselves as long as there is space. Okay. If I were to go a little more in detail, okay, I can do, okay. Shabda, I will define that in a minute. So okay, it is the tanmatra for akasha. A vyakta swarupa of this akshara is in the form of a shabda. I'll just define what this shabda is in a minute in a more contemporary form. Okay, varnaha. Syllable. If you have heard of the term syllable, this is what a shabda will mean. Okay. So, last year I remember we did a small exercise where we said we brought in a lot of sounds and I said, can you decode these sounds? Right. So, there is a limitation of the human vocal cord, which is basically in the 13 kilo, if it is less than 13 kilohertz range. We can only produce sounds in the range of 0 to 13 kilohertz. And what are these natural sounds? I'll just come to them. There are certain natural sounds which we call them as akshara. The limitation of a human eardrum, on the other hand, it is basically what you can hear. This is production and then there is reception, right? Inward, outward. In the inward range, we have this 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz range, right? And those coming from the electronics background, I think Kishore is here today, he can educate us more, but we'll know that, when you have this frequency, how do you get this vibration frequency for a mobile phone, for instance? It's essentially those range in the less than 20 hertz range. What is not heard, but what vibrate, what is just felt. So that's what goes on there, right? So this is what is framed. Now, this is a human, please note, whatever we have, we are talking in the human sphere. If you go to the animal sphere or if you go to some other species sphere, there is possibility of their reception and transmission ranges being at much different frequencies. So for them, akshara range may be many more. What we have as akshara range is that 52, whatever we have put out. And why those 52, I'll just come to that in a minute. Okay. So this is how the concept of akshara, the natural way of deciphering certain things, the natural frequency of certain sounds that are receptible and transmittable by us is what we call as akshara for us. Okay. So this becomes a building block. So let us see what these aksharas are. And this akshara is very different from alphabet in English for this very simple reason that it goes with a very, very sound principle of from where these akshara or sounds can originate from in the human facial system. I'll just show this. So you have this, what comes as the akara, kavarga and hakara will come from kantha. That is this from the vocal cord part of your, of course, everything originates from the vocal cord, but from the throat. So when you say a, ka, ka, ga, ga, nga, you'll see the throat being very active. Okay. Then ichu yashanam talu. That is basically, if you look in the mirror, open your mouth, you'll see something hanging, that small, this one. Somebody is having their microphone on. Can you please turn it off? Who's having their, who is speaking? Chitrananda Kumar Modi, I think I'll just mute you for a minute. I think there was something going on. Okay. Okay. So that comes from the talu. If you cha cha ja ja nya, if you put a finger here, you'll see cha cha ja ja nya, you will find that this is the part where it is coming from. Now, rutushanam murdha, that is the next one. That is basically r, ta ta da da na. If you were to say that, the tongue will roll up to the upper part of your brain towards that. Okay, so that is murdha. The tavarga is from the danta, from the teeth. If you don't have teeth, so ad-libbing, you'll end up ad-libbing. So that is that's why children will have difficulty in doing that tavarga, pronouncing that tavarga. Okay. Then pavarga will papa baba ma cannot be spoken without the use of your lips. Oshte. Okay. Then so yamangananam nasika. If you don't have a nasal part, there's a nasal part involved where you say nga, nya, na, ma. There's a nasal, this one involved there. Okay. Then there's a combination of kantha and talu. There is basically you need A and I. If you have to say, it has to come from both kantha and the talu. That is basically your throat and the upper part of that small tongue that comes out there. Then similarly, O, Au, Am is Oshta and Kanta, that is lips and the throat. Okay. The Vakara will come from Danta Oshta. Okay. Danta and Oshta, that is basically teeth and the lips need to work for Va. If you have to say Va, that is how it comes. So if you observe, this is a very, very deep-rooted thing. In fact, it goes deeper. I have just brought out very basics. There are 31 points in the human in this part of the facial system where sounds can originate from. But we are not adept to using all 31 parts. So this is what we have. Okay. So this is the first step. So these are the sutras which come. Akuha visarjani jnanam kantaha ichu yashanam kalu. Here ku will refer to kaka gagaga, chu will refer to chacha jajanya, tu will refer to tata dadana, tu will refer to tata dadana. Here pu will refer to papa babama. Okay. A, kaka gaganga, hakara, visarga, aha. Jnanam, kanta. It all originates from the kanta. Ichu yashanam, talu. That is the upper part of that throat. Ruturashanam, murdha. Rutulasanam, dantaha. Upadmaniyanam, oshtau. There is one Upadmaniya. We will talk about Upadmaniya when we do some sandhis. Yamanganananam nasika. Etai toho. A and I just showed you here. A and I. This one, A and I. Kanta talu. O dautoho kanta oshtam. O au oshta and kanta. Vakarasya dantoshtam. Vakara will come from danta and oshta. Okay. Jihvamuli yasya jihvamuli. Okay, we'll do jihvamuli some other time. Nasikanuswarasya If you have to say that is through a nasal this one. These are some other things. We'll keep them as is for now. We'll see them at some other point. Okay. So this is something that we should know. The reason to know this is not because, it is something very great, but it is very, very deep. So that is the reason I wanted to bring this up. Any questions on this so far? Anybody with questions? Or was it something that everybody knew and there is no this one here? Yes, Chitra Mahodaya, tell me.
The Shabda is Pramanam also, no Mahadaya?
Okay. Okay. What you are talking about, Shabda is a Pramana, is a different context. We'll come to Shabda as a Pramana when we talk of Shabda as a Veda. So that is a different thing which is beyond the scope of today's class at least.
Okay.
We'll talk about it some other time. Yes. Basavaraj Mahodaya, you had a question?
No, Mahodaya, I'm good.
Okay. Ask it. Okay. If there are no other questions, we can move forward. So, simple thing, I'll ask you a simple question. Okay. Sri Vidya, for instance. Can you pronounce Sri Vidya without using your lips?
Yes, Sri Vidya.
Yes, we can.
But we were.
Or why you need lips?
Shri.
Why you need that? Yeah. Similarly, who else is there? Okay, let us see. Parvati without using your lips.
No.
Not possible.
Is
Tomato without using without your tongue rolling up.
no. Tomato.
So there is a very deep understanding by our ancestors in terms of how some Aksharamala is to be framed to begin with. Framing an Aksharamala is not just random set of sounds coming together, but it has got to do with two concepts. One is transmission, the other one is reception. Both of these have to be in sync. And if both of these are not in sync, then it makes no sense. So that is how this is framed, and it is very deep rooted in our system. So now let's look at the Akshara Mala from this point of view. So from this, what comes are a set of 52 or 48 in Sanskritam plus another 4 if you want to look at it, that come up, and we'll see how they come up.
So other four are same akshara, conjunct word, consonants, or?
I'll just talk about it. Hold on for a minute. So I spoke about these. So akuha, where is that? Akuha. Okay, let's start with akuha visarjaniyanam kanta. So these are what are called swaraha. A, I, U, R, R. These are the basic swara. A, I, O, Au. These are the swaras. In this, you have Raswa and Dirgha. In fact, you don't just have Raswa and Dirgha, you have Pluta also. I'll talk about Pluta also in a minute. Hold on. Okay. So, you have A, I, U, R, 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 A. Please note, in other Indian languages, for instance, in Kannada, you have A. Okay, I know in a few other languages also you have A. But in Sanskritam, you have only one Dirgha. You don't have the Rasva. I, O, Au. In Kannada, you have O also. Okay, whereas in Sanskritam, there is no Rasva element of A and O. Alright. So this makes these are the swaras. So what is a Hrasva and a Dirgha? Ekamatro bhavet Hrasvaha, Dvimatro Dirgha uchyate, Trimatrastu Pluto Gyeyaha, Vyanjanam Tvat Ardhamatrakam. Okay, we'll talk about Vyanjana in a minute. But Swaras are those which have independent existence. To put it very, very clearly. Okay. For instance, a, I, u, r, a, I, o. Okay. Without a swara, a vyanjana will not have any meaning. Okay, we'll talk about vyanjana in a minute. But before we'll get there, what is rasva? A, I, u, r. If I were to take this as 1 meter or 1 unit of pronouncing a syllable of one swara, then double that will be your dirgha. A, I, U, Ru, R, A, I, O, Au. So that's what it is saying. Eka matra vavet hasrasvaha, dvimatro dirgha uchyate. Now there is a concept called pluta also in Sanskritam, which is not common anywhere in most other languages. You will not find this pluta. In some of the Balkan states you do find it, but not in other. Spanish has some level of it, but not in any other. Especially in English, you'll never find it. So, for instance, you will never find this is the very common example I have given in the past as well. You can say go straight. You can say go straight. You can go straight. All right. In English, all three will not mean any different. I mean, first of all, you can't. It's a cardinal problem. It's a huge problem if you pronounce it that way in English. But then that's something that we have come to use in India, because the first straight means it's a short distance straight. The second straight means go straight, means it goes a little longer. The third straight means very long. Okay. So you do have the concept of pluta, whereas trimatra, gaccha. In fact, in Taittiriya Upanishad, it comes kaschana gacchati. Right. Then it goes on. There's a beautiful this one that goes on after that. So we have a very beautiful concept of pluta. After this, there is another form of it in for this itself. Okay, let me finish off. Okay, in which case, now I'm sure all of you are wondering where the and aha will fall in this case. Correct? Now, and aha do not have any independent existence.
Mahoday, one
That's why they are
clarification.
called hanging. They are ayoga vahu. They are not, they are ayoga. Anuswara. So if I were to put up with any of this, they will become im, rum, aim, ein, om, etc. Yes, Basavaraj Mahoday.
My question is, so we go. Can you step back take back to one more page previous? Before, yeah. So Hruswa means it's both. Ekamatra and Dvimatra both are Hruswa, or all three. Ekamatra, Dvimatra, and Trimatra.
No. Hrasva is Ekamatra.
Okay.
Dirgha is Dvimatra.
Okay.
Pluta is Trimatra.
Sorry? Pluta.
Hrasva
Pluta
is Ekamatra.
Only Pluta. Only Pluta is Trimatra.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Dhanyavad, Mahoday.
Okay. So Anuswara is this one. Okay. This is Anuswara. That is one of the Ayogavaha. The second Ayogavaha is Visarga. It also does not have any independent existence. Aha, ihi, ihi, uhu. It will take the same sound as that of its preceding swara. Auhu. That's why a lot of people have seen iha will mean e and hakara. If you have visarga, you cannot say iha. It is ihi. Matihi. It is not matiha. Okay. Rajjuhu. Okay. So that is the difference between, this is how our swaras are set up. Then there is a concept called, okay, this I'll just skip for now. There are totally 18 ways you can do it. So Anunasika, Ananunasika, Rasva, Dirgha, Pluta are 3, Udatta, Anudatta, Swarita. What is Udatta, what is Anudatta? We'll do it at some other time. It's not very relevant at this point. It is very important in Veda Dhyana. But if we skip that for now, okay, we'll go to what are called Vyanjanani. Now, Vyanjanani, if I were to look at this, so it'll be Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, Nga. This is how we have all learnt it, right? Anybody would like to pronounce it differently?
No,
Now, when
ka,
you say Ka, Kha, Ga,
Nga.
Gha, Nga, if I were to go back here to this shloka, it says Vyanjanam Tvat Ardhamatrakam. Vyanjanam tu Ardhamatrakam. So ka here refers, means that there is ka plus akara added to it. It goes without saying. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. That is only the Vyanjana part. These cannot exist independently. These cannot be taken at independently unless they are joined with something else. Okay. Or they can be left hanging in the end of something. The next one will immediately take it up. That's why you love ka, ka, ga, ga, nga. Then you can do ki, ki, gi, gi, ku, gu, gung, gung. We can do that, right? So that becomes an important part. So we have what are called Vargiya Vyanjana, which are 25. Then we have Avargiya Vyanjana. In this we have Antastha and Ushmanda. Okay. In Vargiya Vyanjana, further we have division. These are what are called Alpa Prana. The way the air comes out of your while pronouncing it is with little effort. Ka, ga, cha, ja, ta, da, ta, da, pa, ba. Then we have what are called Mahaprana. These are kha, cha, tha, tha, pa, gha, jha, dha, dha, ha. Mahaprana. The effort needed are much more. The effort needed is much more. Sha, sha, sa, ha. These are Mahaprana. Then there is Anunasika. Just basically you need your nasal system to work. We work along with your mouth to help you come up with this. Nga, nga, na, na, ma. Okay. Apart from this, there is one more classification for this, which is basically Karkasha Vyanjana and Mrudu Vyanjana. These are Karkasha Vyanjanani. Ka, kha, cha, cha, ta, tha, ta, tha, pa, pha. Okay. These are sort of high note, high pitch, high note, if I were to call them. Then there are soft, Mrudu Vyanjanani. Low pitch, low note. Ga, gha, ja, ja, da, dha, 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 ba, bha. Okay. So please make a note of this. I will share this presentation at the end of this class. So please make a note of this and please have this at the back of your mind whenever we are doing something. Yes, Parvati Madhya.
So what's the difference between the pranaha and you said Karkasha Vyanjanani, this group, and it's also Alpa. What is the difference?
Okay. Alpa Prana and Mahaprana has got to do with the way the air is expelled out of your mouth.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Karkasha and Mrudu Vyanjana are a pitch and note. You have this concept called pitch and note.
Yeah.
No?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ka, kha, cha, cha, ta, tha. So it will sound a little, scratchy, if I were to call it.
But Mahodaya, but in Mahaprana means you are doing it with the force, right?
Yeah.
And also you're saying that is Mridu also. How will you make? I mean, it's something like it's opposite.
No. See, that's where.
Like an
See, the
oxymoron?
pitch, if you, how many of you have done? I'm sure all of you have some music background. You have what is called pitch,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then there is called a note.
Okay, note. Yeah.
That is the difference,
Okay.
right? So the language, the very fundamental building block of the language is structured to accommodate these things in mind. All right. So this is how it is put out. Okay. With this, I think, okay. Now we can go. Okay. Then my next question to all of you. Yes, I will send this in the Google Classroom at the end of it. That I always do. Okay. What happened to this? Okay. 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 Now we have all heard of. Okay. Please. So that this is the reason why we do not draw similarity between an alphabet and shabda or akshara, because the origins of alphabet, if you look at it, is very different from the way akshara originates. These are natural scheme of sounds that are existing in the universe, and in our limited space of 20 to 20 kilohertz, we think these are the basic forms that can be used. That is not the way ABCD has come up. So that is why it is very important to understand this part first. Okay. So the next question comes is, in the English language, we understand what is a word, right? A meaningful combination of letters is called a word. I mean, this is the most common of letters is called a word, is what we are all told, and then there is an etymology of words, etc., etc., etc. So then, in Sanskritam, what is a word? Yes, Parvati Mudya.
So now when you say where the sounds originate from, is that natural or do I have to practice it like that?
No, it's a natural thing, no?
And,
Do you practice it?
No,
Did anybody?
but do I sound right? No, because when I say anything in Sanskrit, sometimes the hreswa, the thing, because not being from that background, there is a difference. So it doesn't come.
No, it will not.
Does
be.
it come
You are
naturally?
pronouncing. No, you just need to observe yourself. There is nothing, you cannot be doing this. If you are pronouncing your name Parvati, there is no way without using your lips you are pronouncing it.
Okay. So it is natural.
It's a very natural thing.
Okay. It is not that you have to keep practicing it to say, okay, it's coming from.
It is just that you have not been conscious about it.
Yeah, aware. Okay. Okay.
See, there's a difference between being conscious about it and not doing it right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not something that can go wrong. If your facial system is working right, and if you are talking to people, there is no way you'll use the word talk and sound it right without your tongue going up.
Okay. Got it. Dhanyavada.
It's just that you may not be conscious about it. There's a difference between not being conscious and doing it right. Okay. So that's why this language is structured in a very, even for the subconscious mind, it is very natural. So in fact, I can give you a lot of examples with this. In fact, I was myself associated with one project where, we've all heard of these Bing translators, Google translators and all, right? While translating from an Estonian language to Dutch, right? It was not a straightforward translation. They couldn't get it right. They had to translate that to a syllable form in Sanskritam. From Sanskritam, it had to be retranslated into Dutch, simply because the way it could be taken up was simple. The syllable level of these acceptance in Sanskritam is very easy, because it's very easily mapped out to from which part of your facial system is this sound emanating. This was done in the Delhi University. This is a very clear. In fact, if you use the Bing translator, that's why it goes well. All right. So there are many like this. No worries, Shalini Mahodaya, no worries. Yeah, Basavaraj Mahodaya, I understand, you can leave at 8, that's okay. Okay. So this is a very important thing that comes up. This is where the fundamental building block of the language itself exists. Okay. So let's move ahead and now ask a question. Pada. What is a pada? Anybody wants to try?
Pada is
Yes.
a word.
Huh?
Is it? What word?
Word. So that's where I said. Huh. So you mean to say a meaningful combination of letters is a word as per English, right?
Yes.
So similarly, a meaningful combination of aksharas becomes a word. Right? Is that what we should translate it as?
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody who disagrees with this?
Is it also an expression? Word is also an expression?
Expression. Not quite.
Pada. Pada is also
Pada.
expression, is it not?
Pada. Yeah, we'll talk about that pada. So in Sanskritam, we have a very different way of looking at pada.
In Hindi,
Yes, Shanti Mahodaya.
yes, sorry. I tried to raise my hand, but I just couldn't find that thing here where you raise your hand. Yeah. So in Hindi, a pada is usually a couplet. Is that the case in Sanskrit?
No.
Like Meera ke pad or so.
No. What you are talking about is different. That is not the pata, not that. No. It's not a couplet. So pada is not just a meaningful thing. I'll give an example here. When you have to use something, okay, first of all, why is pada not a meaningful combination of letters? Let's take that example. Let's take that case. Okay. Now, let's take the simple case of Bhaja Govindam only. Bhaja. Correct? Is Bhaja a pada? Bhaja padam va?
It's a verb.
It's a verb. It's
Yes.
a verb. It's a pada. So what you are saying is it's a pada. Now why is it a pada? If I go back to the etymology of bhaja, bhaj, the dhatu, it comes from a dhatu called bhaj. Bhaj. The meaning of that, the dhatu itself has a meaning. Right? Not necessarily a word. A word is just a form of it. The dhatu has a meaning, bhajan sevayam. So the moment I see the dhatu bhaj, which is not a pada, I associate with it a good set of meaning. Bhajan sevayam, to honor, to pray, to do seva, to serve. So wherever I see the dhatu bhaj, I need to necessarily take that meaning. Now that can be used in very different contexts. In order to put it into these contexts, we have what are called pada. So that's why our definition of a pada comes up to what is called Subantam Digantam Padam. What is the Subanta?
Namapadam.
Pratipadikam plus supratyaya.
Pratipadikam plus sup pratyaya. Antam is end. Pratyaya is a suffix. Okay. Upasarga is a prefix. Pratyaya is a suffix. So there is a sup pratyaya that is attached to what is called a pratipadikam, which has a meaning, by the way. Then it takes a form called subanta. So that is how the origin of what is called Rama Ramo Ramaha, Ramam Ramo Raman, Ramena Ramabhyam Ramaihe. It goes on. Why these? They are different forms and uses in English. Rama, to Rama, from Rama, by Rama, right?
From
With
Rama.
Rama, then
Of Rama.
From
of
Rama.
Rama,
Of
in Rama. But
Rama.
Rama itself does not have an independent pada existence, but it's a pratipadikam. Right? Similarly, Bhaj, dhatu has an independent dhatu existence, but cannot be used in just the dhatu form. Okay. So, pratipadikam, namapadanam mula rupaha. When you add a sup pratyaya to it, it becomes a subantam. Ramaha. It takes 21 forms of that. Because we have a dvivachana, 7 declination forms, 7 into 3, that is where Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha and all come. Alright. So that is the origins of this Subanta. It is not just like a random, English word. English also, it also has a Latin etymology at some place, and some places it's drawn from the Sanskrit roots. But the language itself is not so concise and crisp because this is not the way it is done. Alright. Then, what is Tiganta? There are dhatu. There are 2250 dhatus.
Dhatu plus
Which are Kriyapada forms, verb forms, which will take verb forms. For instance, bhaja. Bhajati, bhajata, bhajanti, bhajasi, bhajata, bhajata, bhajami, bhajavaha, bhajamaha. Or in the lot lakara form, bhajate, bhajete, bhajante, not what is that? Bhajatu, bhajatam, bhajanto, bhaja, right? Bhaje, bhajavahe, bhajamahe, right? In the lot lakara form, dvitiya, what is that? Madhyama purusha, ekavachana, bhaja, lot lakare. That means you sing. I can immediately decipher a lot of things the moment I see bhaja. It is addressed to you. Now that who that you is, we'll talk about in some time. You do this, you sing, or you praise, or you do this. And you praise this. Just by looking at that much bhaja, I can make out a lot of things out of it. Okay. So that is what is Tiganta. So there are 18 forms of it which comes. The Atmane Pade, Parasmai Pade, and because of that it takes, and then it can either take 90 forms or 180 forms. Basically, there are how many lakaras are there? How many tenses? Basically,
10 lakaras.
10 lakaras.
10 lakaras. So who can tell me all the 10 lakaras? Anybody? Somebody
Lat,
who's
lot,
lot,
lit, lung.
lung.
So how do you remember that?
There is an sutram, but I forgot the sutra.
No, there is no sutra. I'll give you a very simple form. Right?
Lal.
Lat, lit, lut, rit, lot. Sorry, rit, sorry, late, lot. Okay. Then write nga, lung, ling, lung, ring.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't know that. Thank you. That was
That's the
nice
simplest way of doing it. Okay. And each one will take 9 forms. So 10 into 9, it can be 90. Or if it is a Atmane Ubhaya Padi, Parasmai Padi plus Atmane Padi, 180. Each dhatu can take this much. Now the beauty of Sanskritam is, or rather the power of Sanskritam, and this is where Sanskritam becomes challenging to learn, is basically, you can go about going from a Pratipadikam, you can start from a Pratipadikam, go to a dhatu and create the dhatu forms, or from a dhatu you can create a kridanta form.
Yeah.
And make it a what is it called, Pratipadikam. I'll give you a very simple example. Pat dhatu. Pat is a dhatu, read. Okay. Pathanam, patha. Now pat can take patati, patata, patanti, patasi, patata, patata, patami, patavaha, patamaha, Patishyati, patishyatah, patishyanti, patishyasi, patishyatah, patishyatha, patishyami, patishyavah, patishyanah. It can take those forms. That is the dhatu, and because of that, the various lakara forms. Patatu, patatam, patanto, patha, then pathe, patavahe, patamahe, etc., etc., etc. It can take so many forms. Apatat, apatatam, and all those things. Now, I can create what is called patitavan.
Tavatu.
From a dhatu, now it became tavatu pratyaya I added, and now I made it a noun form. Paditavan, paditavantau, paditavantaha. Paditavantam, paditavantau, paditavantaha. Okay. I can go on this way. Paditavadbihi. I can go on and create 21 forms. I can add a ta pratyaya and call it patita. And here I don't need to, I can even change the linga with it. I can even change the gender. Paditavan. Paditavati. Okay. Similarly, I can do patitaha, patitau, patitaha. Padita, padita, padite, paditaha. Patitam, padite, paditani. I can change this and make it very complex. Okay. And not just this much. If I have patidhatu, I can also add one more pratyaya, and instead of saying I read, I can say I will make somebody read. How do I do that? Pat plus ninj pratyaya, patayati. Patayati, patayatah, patayanti. Okay, that is a ninj pratyaya. I can add it and make it very, very interestingly, I can make it out of it. Okay. After making that, patitava, I can make it patitavan. Patitaha. Patita. I'm just using one dhatu and convert the whole thing. All you need to do is you need to know what about 3,983 rules. That is all that you need to do. Nothing else, and that will create a whole set of new words for you. You can go. That's why it's very easy to work in natural language. Processing is very simple with Sanskritam. There are only 3,983 rules, plus some 2,250 dhatus, plus some pratipadikam, and that's it. The whole programming is done. Yes, Parvati Maurya.
So, Mahoday, but is a dhatu. It is not pratipadikam. Okay.
No,
it is a dhatu. Dhatu. Yeah.
Now, when I make
that can be changed. Yeah. When you make it patitavati, it's still dhatu, not pratipadikam.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
There, I make it patitavat. Tavatu pratyaya when I add, it becomes patitavat, which is the pratipadikam.
Yeah.
Then
that is patitavat is the pratipadikam.
Yes.
You're changing the dhatu into a pratipadikam, and then got it.
Similarly, patita is a pratipadikam. Patita, patitaha, patitau, patitaha. Patita, patite, patitaha. Okay, I can go on. Right? Then, similarly, I have one more. What is it called? There is a concept called, there is something called from pratipadikam. Then I go to dhatu. Then, if I add an upasarga to something, it will enhance the meaning. Gacchati, agacchati, pratyagacchati. So there are 22 upasargas, which enhance the power of that language. So this is how infinitely I can keep creating words and pratipadikam and pratipadikam to create so many other things. Ramayati. Yeah, Ramayati sa Ramaha. Okay. Then I can, not just this much. I can say patati. Yaha patanam karoti. Now I just added a patan. Patanam karoti. One who is made to read. All right. So this is what makes Sanskritam very powerful. Any questions up to this point?
So all Kridantas will, when you add the Kridanta, any of them, then does that become a Pratipadikam? For all Kridanta,
yes. Kridanta are Pratipadikam. Kridanta are noun forms, takes noun forms. Yes.
Any ta or shatru or whatever you use, it ends up.
Yes. It can be any pratyaya. Any of this Kridanta.
Mahodaya, patanam karoti or patanam patayati?
Both are there. No? Patanam karoti, patanam karoti. Patanam is reading, patanam is make somebody read. Okay. Now, similarly, you have bubuksha. How does the word bubuksha come? What is bubuksha?
Hungry.
Hungry. Actually, it does not mean hungry.
Desires to eat.
Hunger?
Desire for hunger.
Desire to eat. Bhakshanam kartum ichchati sa bubuksha. Bhakshanam kartum ichchati sa bubuksha. Then that I can make bubukshati, bubukshata, bubukshanti. Similarly, pipasa. Patum ichchati.
Dhatu of bubuksha is what? Bubuksha?
Huh?
Dhatu of bubukshati is what?
That becomes a, that will form a dhatu after that.
So bubuksha is the dhatu.
Yes, bubukshati is the dhatu.
Bubukshati is the dhatu.
No, bubukshati is not a dhatu. Bubuksha is a dhatu. Bubuksha. So that is the power of Sanskritam. The word itself, only when used in a sentence, has a specific thing. All right. It is not before that. The dhatu also has a very deep meaning. None of the dhatus, none of the pratipadikam go without a meaning. So Sanskritam very clearly takes a simple stance. If something is not of use, don't use it. It should not exist. Its existence should not be there. So transactionally, it should be as crisp and as concise as possible. That is the position Sanskritam has taken throughout, and that is where it is very, very clear. So you will not find a single dhatu which has no meaning. It is not a set of, akshara combined together to give something. That cannot happen.
Use it or lose it.
Yes, Pasaraj Mahodaya?
Use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it. Or don't create it. That's what it comes to. Okay. So
Pratipadikam also has a meaning, right?
Pratipadikam strictly has a meaning. Yes. Guru is a Pratipadikam.
Yeah, it has a meaning. Yeah.
The gu part means all the papa, guru is the one which takes away that guru. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see that. We'll see when we see Govinda, when we see Vishnu, Vishnu. Okay. So we will see all these things. This is what I want this to be very clear, because we'll be getting into deep meanings of each word in Bhaja Govindam. At least, if not each word, at least the most important words. Okay. Why Govinda? For instance, I'll ask, next class we'll do that. Why Govinda? Why not Kala Bhairava? I was in Kashi, we all know that story. I'll tell that story again next week. But why Govinda? Why not Bhairava? Of course, in Kashi you have Vishwanatha, Bhairava, and Annapurneshwari. Right? So why Govinda? Important question to ask, no? Shankaracharya never used any useless words. He has been very careful in using all his words throughout. Yes, Shalini Mahodaya, you had to add something?
Not add really. I just wanted to say that this has been my question for a very long time. I have been wanting to ask it. So, yeah, thank you so much for bringing it up. Would love to know.
Okay, what Govinda is it?
Yes.
Okay, we will do that. We'll do that in the next class. That is the whole topic for next class. We'll do that in the next class. Okay. Before we move to Bhaja Govindam, okay. Vakyam. Then the next concept is once we have Akshara, once we have Pada, then Vakyam. What is a Vakyam?
Sentence.
A group of words to make
A group of
meaningful,
words
make a
conveying
meaningful.
meaningful sentence.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Oh, very good. Now let me bring about something. I think I should, yeah. Be a bit of revision for others, but that's okay. Let me bring it for the sake of completeness here.
Mahodaya.
Dakshinamurti sloka.
Dakshinamurti Stotra. No, we're not yet doing samasa. Don't worry about that. Nana Chidra Gatodara. That's what you are remembering, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes, Pran Mahodaya, you had something to say.
I wanted to ask if Vakyam is a group of words but that contains a Kriya Padam.
Huh?
If Vakyam is a group of words but it
Mhm.
needs to contain a Kriya Padam.
Does it need a Kriya Padam? That's a good question. I will just explain that with this example. Hold on for a minute. Okay. How does Vakya Rachana happen in Sanskritam? Let's go to that. Okay. Okay. Let us say there is a word called, there is a Gai Dhatu Gayati Kriya Padam. Correct? Gayati. Now I can ask a lot of questions around this Gayati. Kaha Gayati? Who sings? Ka Gayati atva Kaha Gayati? Atva Kim Gayati? Vyajanam Gayati. It can be a radio singing. No. Kim Gayati, Ka Gayati, Kaha Gayati. Okay. I can have Gayika Gayati. Ka Gayati, Gayika Gayati. Right? Then Kim Gayati. What is she singing?
Geetam.
Some singer is singing. Geetam Gayati. What is she singing? Kena Gayati. Mukhena Gayati. Nasikaya na Gayati. Mukhena eva Gayati. She is not singing from her nose. She is singing from her mouth. All right. Mukhena Gayati. Kimartham Gayasti. For whom is she singing? Shrotrebhyaha. Shrotriyartham. For those who are listening. She's listening for, she's doing for that. Okay. Kutaha Gayati. From where is she singing? Smaranat. From memory. She is recollecting from memory and throwing it out. Okay. Then Kutra Gayati. Gangatire Gayati. Manche Gayati. Platform. Okay. Then where Kasya Gayika? Kashyaha Gayika. One who is famous in Kashi. Kashyaha Gayika Gayati. Okay. This is the way. If you look at this, how many words? These are all words, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exactly 8 words. That is 7 vibhakti plus 1 kriyapadam. Okay. Okay. Now let's rearrange these words. What happens? Let us see. I'll just translate all this into English and leave it there. Okay. Kashyaha Gayika Gayati Geetam Shrotriyebhyaha Mukhena Smaranat Ganga Tire. Kashi singer, a female singer, that's why I put the F here, sings a song for listeners with mouth from memory on the Ganga banks. Right? A very meaningful sentence in English. Now, let's rearrange these words in Sanskritam. Geetam gayati kashyaha gaika mukhen shtotriyebhyah smaranat ganga tire. So I just rearranged. All these are color coded, so you can take them from that. A song sings Kashi singer. Gone. The whole meaning is gone here. Whereas in Sanskritam, that will never happen. Only thing that we need to make sure is this Kashyaha Gaika. This has to be very clear. What is the Shashti Vibhakti or Sambandha? That Sambandha has to go very clearly with the Gaika here. I'll always keep this Kashyaha Gaika with Kashyaha with Gaika. All other things can be done with any permutation combination. You will not go wrong. A song sings Kashi singer with mouth for listeners. I mean, yeah, you now make out what's happening here. Geetam mukhena gayati kashyaha gaika shrotriyebhyah smaranat ganga tire. It will still mean exactly what I said first. Singer from Kashi sings a song for the listeners from her memory. That's it, on the Ganga, on the banks of Ganga. A song with, if I were to just rearrange it very crudely, this is what it will become in English. A song with mouth sings Kashi's singer for listeners from memory on Ganga banks. So you can imagine where it is going, right? So this is the very critical essence of any sentence formation in Sanskritam. Okay. Yes. So this is where Sanskritam becomes very, very critical. It is a very, it can give you trouble. At the same time, it can solve a lot of problems. If you are conscious about these set of ways to arrange it, it can solve a lot of problems. But at the same time, it can create problems if you are not aware of the way the structuring is done. Another point that we can take up here. Just 1 minute, Frank, yeah, before we get there. Okay. See, the number of words that are needed to describe a sentence is very concise here. I don't need too many because I'm taking the end form of things and not from the beginning. Whereas in any other language, in fact, not just in English, even in a lot of Indian languages, even in Hindi for that matter, what happens? You have vibhakti. Karta ne, karam ko, karan se, adhikaran ke liye, ka ke ki, etc., 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 it comes. Whereas in Sanskritam, that is not the way it goes. We have very clear rules because we are using the end. That is why it is called a subanta. What is an anta? Anta is the last form. That is here, for instance, gai, not gai, okay, let's not, Gita, okay. Gita is a pratipadikam. Geetam. Mukham. Mukha is a pratipadikam. Mukham. Mukhe mukhaha. Mukhe mukha mukha. Mukham mukhe mukhani. I can do that. Okay. In the end, whatever goes in the end, the moment I look at the end, I know what it is telling me. That is the importance of Sanskritam. Okay. With this, yes, Fran Mohdaya, you can ask your question.
I wanted to ask about this science of doing the Ampaya correctly. So I've noticed that there is an order, and the Kriya Padam mostly goes at the very last, at the end of the sentence.
Which one? What comes at the last?
The Kriya Padam.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, good that you brought this up. Let me explain that this one here. Okay, I think last year what we did was that Gajanana Padmarkam, we did that, no? With that, I did that. So in any place, first thing that you need to do is find out this Kriya Padam. If there is no Kriya Padam, Asti is the Kriya Padam, usually, most of the times. Okay. Gayati. Okay. The moment you say Gayati, then associate Kaha Gayati, Ka Gayati, Kim Gayati. it necessarily has to be in Pradama Vibhakti. Karma, karta is karta swatantra. I think we did that last year again. Karta is always, swatantra is always there. Kaha gayati, ka gayati. That is gayika gayati in this case. Kim gayati, what is being sung? That is a Dvitiya Vibhakti or Karma Padam. That comes as Geetam gayati. Kena gayati. These are all other things which are supporting this. Okay. Mukhena gayati. Kimartham gayati atva tasmai gayati. Okay. Then kasmat gayati. From what is she singing? Kutra gayati. Saptami Vibhakti. This is Chaturthi Vibhakti, this is Panchami Vibhakti, this is Saptami Vibhakti. Okay. Then if there is any other thing which can go with anything. Sundaram Geetam. Sundaram Mukham. Or I can say some Shrotriyebhyaha. Give me an adjective for Shrotriyebhyaha. What is that? Sundarebhyaha Shrotriyebhyaha. Right.
Mahodaya.
Chaturebhyaha Shrotriyebhyaha. Clever listeners.
Jnanebhyah.
Mahodaya.
Ka
Gayati, Gayika Gayati. Okay.
Correct.
Gayati itself is Geetam only. Gayika Gayati. Gayati means Geetam only.
Not necessarily, no. Stotram Gayati. Stotram Gayati.
स्तोत्रम हाँ श्लोकम गायति भी हो सकता है.
Slokam Gayati.
Slokam Gayati. Acha.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It need not be Geetam only, no. Shlokam, Stotram Gayati.
Okay.
You can give anything. You
Gayati, but
can
means Gayati actually means reciting, sort of, right? It could be anything.
Reciting. I can say Kavitam Gayati. Kavitam Gayati Vaktum Shakyate va Chitra Mahodaya. Yeah. So it is, that's why nothing is implied. When it is implied, it becomes very clear. Okay. Okay. Now, Fran Mahodaya's question is very important. When you do the Anvaya Rachana and put out in a sentence, the Kriya Padam should be put in the end, which is right. Which is right. So, in this case, the way it should be done is Kashyaha Gayika Mukhena Geetam Shrotriyebhyaha Smaranat Gangatire Gayati. Okay. So basically you start from here, go in this order, in the clockwise order, and then finally end up with the word Gayati. Is that your question, Mahodaya?
Yes, thank you so much.
It is clear now? Okay. So whenever we are doing the whole Bhaja Govindam, we'll do it that way. And then we'll take each word and get into most of the words. Pretty much a lot of them are very easy, but there are very key words in a lot of them. For instance, in the first thing, why Govinda? Okay. What is Dukrung Karane? Right. Then Mudamate. Mudamate is still okay. Mudamate we can still leave it, but that's okay. But we'll go into these things. What is samsara? What is karma? Okay. All these things will have very deep meanings. Right? Astu. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to talk about one more concept. That is a very important concept when it comes to these things. Yeah, I am going to close this. I don't need that. I don't need this also. Okay. Now let's get back to our... Yeah. So everyone is clear what a padam is and what a vakyam is? Okay. Padam, even before it is formed a padam, it can have a meaning. Padam only indicates linga, vachana, vibhakti, etc., etc., etc. It gives the Ruparekha for in a given context. But they do have, before the padam, it can either be a pratipadikam or a dhatu, they will have independent existence as such. They cannot be used in a sentence. That's a different story. All right. Okay. Now, has anybody come across a concept called samhita? Samhita ka. What is samhita?
It's
The
not
words,
Sandhi.
the pronouns.
Sandhi.
One of you. Wait, Vibha Mahodaya bhavati vadatu.
Sahita means samasta padam, not Sandhi.
Samasta padam or sandhi.
Varna
Okay.
vikar.
Varna vikaraha. Astu. Okay. We have heard something. Jaita Mahodaya bhavati vadatu.
It is the closeness of the letters to each other.
Letters. Yes, you attended my last class. I remember that. Yes, you came
Yes.
to the last. Yes. Yes. Okay. Fran Mahodaya bhavati vaktum ichhati va?
Yes, I was going to say the same. The letters
Yes.
surrounding.
Okay. For those of you who did not come to my class, who are new to this, I will just read this out. Karmanyevadikara. This is a very common shloka which I'm sure everyone has heard at some point, right? Anybody who's not heard it can tell me they have not. I will explain it. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmaphala hetur bhurmate sangostva karmani. One way of reading it. I'll read it the second way. Please make a note of how I'm reading it. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmaphala heturbuhu ma te sangostva karmani. Third way. Karmani eva adhikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmaphala hetuhu bhuhu ma te sangaha astu akarmani. Okay. What is the difference between these three? Srividya Mahodaya.
Padachedaha.
Padachedaha. Okay. Okay, but the second time I didn't do padacheda, no? The second time when I read it. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmaphala hetur bhuho ma te sangostva karmani.
Wherever required.
Yes, Srividya Mahodaya was saying something.
Goda, paused. You paused wherever required.
I paused.
Yes.
Pause. The key is pause. That is very important. Now, there is the relative pause between any two syllables is very important in Sanskrit. Now, if you have to naturally speak something, there is a way it will fall. Okay, I will be going slowly. I will be going very slowly. I'll read the same thing very slowly in the continuous form. Please note. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhurma te sangostva karmani. It has got nothing to do with how fast or how slow I read. It is whether I am giving a pause anywhere or is it in a single breath I am reading it out. Okay. Now, when we are doing this, the closeness between any two varna or shabda, I should not use shabda becomes wrong. Any two syllables, let me use the word syllables, okay, becomes a samhita. If it is close enough, then it is samhita. Otherwise, it is not a samhita. For instance, karmanyevadikaraste. If I pause here, that part is a samhita. Beyond that, it is not a samhita. Beyond that is the next samhita. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. That is a samhita. Ma te sangostva karmani. That is the another samhita. Again, I can do the same thing. Karmanyevadikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetuho bhurma te sangaha astva karmani. For this, I need to know where to pause. Now, when you are pausing, it's not a problem. I can do a padacheda, as you said. Different padas can be put in different ways. When I'm joining these varnas together, I need to follow some rules. I'll take the last one, Sangostva Karmani. Right? Now, here there are three things. Sangaha astu akarmani. Sangaha astu akarmani. If I were to say Sangaha astu akarmani, then there is a pause, naturally implied pauses that are coming in. To avoid those naturally implied pauses, we have what is called a sandhi that comes into play. Okay. Now, sandhi, please note, is not a padakarya. Is a varna karya. Okay. So, what is samhita? Varnanam atishayati sannidhihi samipyam parasparam samipam bhavitum arhati tat samhita. Okay. Yada varnadvayasya uchcharanam atyantam nikatam priyate tayoho antaram ardhamatrat nyunam bhaveyuhu. That is, I'll give an example. Smaller than ardhamatra. In this I can't do. Oh, what will I do it then? Ardhamatrat. Matrat vasti. Matrat asti. Matrat asti. Matrat asti. Correct? Now, matrat asti, I can put it as one single form. I can say matrat asti. Now, if there is less than half a matra of pause, then it becomes samipyam. Otherwise, it is not samipyam, it is not samhita. Matrat asti or matrat asti. Matrat asti is samhita. Matrat asti is not samhita. I gave a pause more than half of this one. Okay. So that is what is said here. Yes, Sushila Modaya.
Yeah, I wanted to know when you paused at a different place, like in Sangoha Aswa Karmani, then the meaning changes or something?
No, it cannot, no? Because that is the padacheda. Sangaha astu akarmani.
So that when if you don't do the Samhita properly, will the meaning of that
Yes,
sentence?
yes, you are right. So yeah, that we did that with Agajan and Padmarkam last year. If you stop at Agaja, it is problem. It's problematic. You have to say Agaja. Anana, Agaja, Anana. It is not Agajanana Padmarkam. Right? It has to be Agaja. You can't say Agajasya Ananam. Agajayaha Anana, Yaha Padmarkam Kriyate. Right? In this, it is not a problem. It is not. Here I can do. Yes. I can do. Wait, where can I do that? No, in this, it is not. It is a little straightforward in this. Let's say in the case of if this is Sangaha, Astva Karmani will mean nothing.
Aswa Karmani
Astu Akarmani itself will make a meaning out of it. So where to pause and how to pause is a very important thing. Right? So that is very important. So Samhita will give us that. By making it a Samhita, what can happen is you will get various sandhis coming in. Sandhi is a result of Samhita when we are trying to combine things. Yes, Chitra Maurya.
The second said Yada Varna Dvayasya Uchcharanam. That can you please explain me that?
Okay. Okay. Astu Akarmani. there is tu at the end or ukara in the end and akara at the beginning of the next this one, correct?
Yes.
Astu akarmani. If I were to say astu akarmani, there becomes a more than half a matra of space, correct? Astva karmani. There is no pause. So there is a sandhi karyam which is happening, because of which it's become astva karmani. That is what is making it samhita. But samhita can happen without sandhi also. Okay. Ramam agacha. Gruham agacha. Let's take that example. Gruham agacha. Okay. Gruham agacha. I gave a pause, so it is not yet a samhita. But gruham agacha. Gruham agacha. That is a samhita. There is no sandhi happening there. Correct? So that is what is the samhita.
But in Grahama Gacha, that plus A becomes Ma. That is not considered.
Where is it sandhi? Modaya, you did the last year.
No, there is no sandhi, but plus it becomes together. No, that's what I was saying.
Correct. That's all. That's a natural this one. There is no. I'll explain what sandhi is next. Wait.
Yes. Sandhi. I understood that it's not a sandhi.
Modaya, can you define samhita once again?
Huh?
I have still not got it.
You have still not got it. Okay. What do you want to know about it?
Samhita.
Samhita. Okay.
Could you just explain the last?
Okay.
The last example that you gave?
Ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhurmate sangostva karmani. This is in one flow. I am telling everything. Correct? Now, I can break this into 4 parts and tell the same thing. Each one will become a different samhita. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuho ma te sangostva karmani. Okay? This is made into 4 parts. Clear, Goda Madhya? Now, I can do the same thing in many more parts. Karmani eva adhikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetuho bhuho ma te sangaha astu akarmani. So how many samhitas did you count in the last one? Goda Modaya?
Modaya.
Yeah, you were the one who asked the question, no?
I am the one.
Huh?
I am the one who asked.
Yes. So in the last, see, in the second case, I made it into 4 samhitas, correct? Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuho. Third, ma te sangostva karmani. Fourth, correct?
Right.
Now, I'll now recite it again. Count how many samhitas I'm making now. Karmani eva adhikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetuho bhuho ma te sangaha astu akarmani.
14.
How many samhitas are there?
14.
14 samhitas. I can convert it into so many. I can do even, that's why when you do Veda Adhyayana, you have what is called Padapatha, Kramapatha. There are a whole set of 8. Shikhi, Jata, Shikhi and all those things. Okay. So we can do it in multiple ways. Now you understood this? Is this clear now?
Yeah, that means it is pausing wherever needed.
Correct. Needed or whenever you want to pause. To pause, there are certain rules.
But there are certain rules, right?
Yes, there are certain rules.
But
right?
the meaning
Because I need to
doesn't
make
change.
karmani. If I have to pause in karmani eva adhikaraha ste, I need to say karmani eva adhikaraha te. If I say karma and pause there, it will be very wrong. I can't say niyema. Niyema will be very wrong.
Right.
Okay. That is where padacheda will come in, which we will discuss in detail. Yes, Chitra Mahodaya.
Like this, all the slokas can we do, Mahodaya?
Everything can be done. Everything can be done, but you need to do it very rightly. Say there was that, I think last year we did that, no? Gajanana Padmarkam, Gajanana Mahardisham. You can't say Gajanana, one which is not Gaja, if you take it, you are gone.
Okay.
The meaning goes off. You have to make that Aga as the Parvata and Agasya Putri Agaja, Agajayaha Ananam, Agajananam, Agajananasya Mukham Padmasya Arkat Padmasya Mukham Yatra Bhavishyati Saha Ganapatihi. That's how we need to get this one out there.
It should be meaningful.
It should be meaningful. It should be very, very clearly. It should be, rather, it should be, it is not just meaningful. It should be conveying what the author intended to convey. Right? There can be multiple meanings. The author himself might have put a pun in it. That's a different story. Which is very possible. We saw that last time, no? Mayura Bhanjaha Ke Karang Kuro. We saw that, no, with Shiva and Parvati doing that, this one. Then he said, you know, Pashupatihi Kantanadanam Kuro. If you are a Pashupati, Vrishabha, you are the Vrishabha, then go shake your head and, you know, ring the bell. So that is what that can happen. So these things can be taken in multiple ways. That's not a problem. But it should be very clear. Yeah. This is Samhita. Now, Samhitayam Satyam Varnanam Vikara. Whenever there is a change in the Varna because of Samhita, Sandhis are possible. It's not necessary, but it's possible. It's not a necessary condition. It's only a possible condition that Sandhi can happen. Akara Yojana Akara Akara Bhavishyate. Varnasya Madhye Bhavitum Arhati, Padeshu Madhye Bhavitum Arhati, Nayakaha, Gayakaha, for instance. It is Gai plus Akaha. There is no meaning for Gai. Gai is a Pratipadikam, that's all. Sorry, Dhatu. Gai is a Dhatu. Akaha has no meaning. It can still be a Sandhi. Okay. So, Madhyam Bhavitum Arhati. Padanam Madhye Abhi Bhavitum Arhati. Nadi plus Asti, Nadyasti. Okay. Sandhi Karyam. Varnayoho Madhye Kidrisham Parivartanam Tata Tat Sandhi Karyam. There are three forms of Sandhis that can happen. Adeshaha. Nadi plus Asti, for instance. Nad plus Ikaraha is Nadi. Everybody knows this. Clear? Ikarasya sthane Yakaraha Agamishyati sa Adeshaha. It's a replacement of Yakara in place of Ikara. That is Adeshaha. Okay. Agamaha. Visargasya sthane Okaraha Agamishyati. So not Visargasya sthane. Visarga Prathamataha Lopa Bhavishyati. Namarudraya Okaraha Agamishyati. Namorudraya Bhavishyati. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Okay, there is a rule. Why that Okara comes, there are certain rules. We'll see that sometime. Yeah. Lopaha Bhavitum Arhati. Here also, for instance, Visarga Lopaha Bhavishyati. Sitasya Varnasya Adarshanam. Janaha Agachanti. Jana Agachanti. First it becomes a Lopa, then it becomes a Adesha. Okay. Okay, it's already 8:30, I think. I'm going to stop for now. Is it been, yes, that is right. As a Fran Mahode, you're right. So, Prashnaha Santi, was it a very heavy session or was it okay?
Very heavy
Okay,
session.
Mahodaya.
Super heavy.
A bit heavy, even I don't have much of background.
Okay. Chinta Nasti. This will be the only heavy session. Next week we'll have a light session. Don't worry about it. Next week onwards we'll have light sessions. We'll do each one, but we'll go depth into Vedanta part. We'll not get
One
into too
type
much.
of revision, Mahodaya.
This was a revision.
Revision
Yes.
happened for.
Revision happened.
So
Just one more point before
is
somebody had a question you can ask. So
Yeah, is
these things, what I have done here is one part. This is probably what I had done in 4 or 5 sessions last time. Okay. There are some links I have given in this. There are some video links. You might just want to go through these videos. They were more in detail. They were in much more detail, and they were sort of more relaxed. I had done it in a more relaxed way. This was just a refresher bridge course, so I just did it fast in one session. So you can go through this. Astu Shalini Mahodaya vadatu.
Is the definition that somebody's put in the chat, is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, what Fran Mahodaya has put up is correct. The closeness, Samhita is the proximity or closeness of songs.
Thank you.
Sandhi, okay, one part, what she has put, Sandhi occurs only when there is Samhita, that is true. There is, Samhita does not necessitate a Sandhi, but Sandhi necessitates Samhita. Okay. So with this, for today, we will stop. We'll have lighter sessions going forward. So you can be a little relaxed. It's not, this was heavy for a reason that it had to be a little bit of a precursor. Okay. So please go through this and come back to the next class. I will share this one. Those of you who are not receiving this one, please send your email IDs to my DM me with your email IDs. I will send across the presentation. Astu va? Okay. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः आदनात् सदनात् सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरिः ओम श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। धन्यवादाः।
धन्यवाद।